Go ahead. Make my day.
Long live the king. You killed him. No. I am your father.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too. Ah!
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Hello everyone, this is Optic 2003 and I'm here with Augie the Froggy.
Hey,
And we come to you with another movie corner. It's been a minute, but here we are back again. And this time we are doing the movie Asteroid City.
yes, we are.
And apparently it's an American empirical picture by Wes Anderson.
Yeah, and it came out just maybe 2 weeks ago, and Wes Anderson is known for the movies. Let's see if I can list off his movies in order. He did, first was Bottle Rocket, then he did Rushmore, and then it was The Royal Tenenbaums, and then it was The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. I think then it was Fantastic Mr. Fox. And then I think it was Moonrise Kingdom. No, did I say the Darjeeling Unlimited?
You have
He
not.
did the Darjeeling Unlimited after I think Life Aquatic, and after the Darjeeling Limited, it was probably Moonrise Kingdom, and then the Grand Budapest Hotel, Isle of Dogs, The French Dispatch, and I think now we're up to Asteroid City. So, needless to say, I'm kind of a fan of his, and I was talking to you the other day. We're playing. I don't know if we're doing the Crash or whatever Diablo or whatever, and I was talking to you about the movie.
Yes.
And I guess I found out that you said you were familiar with Wes Anderson, but it turned out you had never really seen any of his movies.
Correct. I'm familiar with them, like the Life Aquatic. I know that's with Bill Murray. I saw very very small bits and pieces of Budapest, but to actually like sit down and seen any of his movies full length, I have not.
And just out of curiosity, is it somebody you've been avoiding, or is it just kind of just never really draw your interest, or just something that never just like why like how come you don't think, or how come you've never seen any of his movies, or is it just
I don't know. I guess it just hasn't really came up. It's not that I don't like him or his movies, or just I don't know. It's just I know they're available. And I know they're to watch, but just
No, I get it because like he was an indie guy too. Like when he came out years back with Bottle Rocket and Rushmore, he was like this indie guy, and now he's become like super. I don't know, like millennial type guy, where all the millennials or all the I don't know what people are called now. What is it, millennials and
Gen Z,
Gen Zs, or like he's really popular among them all of a sudden. So I know it kind of like he kind of got like a kind of like a oh he's kind of a cool, or he's a pretentious guy, or I don't know, he's an artsy whatnot, or
mm,
so I know some people got that thing on him too, or like he's just kind of got like maybe like a oh I'll just say he's not for everybody. Like I know, like I don't know, I'm gonna talk to you about it. I guess maybe later on after the thing, but I know his style is not for everybody. I guess or
mm,
the way his movies are.
gotcha.
So and then he usually writes with like he's usually got different guys he worked with writing. Like I think when he first came out, his first few movies were written with the Wilson brothers. I think ah god damn it. I want to say Wes Anderson is an Austin guy. I think he may be from Austin or somewhere around there. But he usually collaborates with the Owen Wilson and Luke Wilson. They usually sometimes write with them. And on this one, he wrote that said, I guess it was the movie was co-written by Roman Coppola. So Roman Coppola, and if I get this wrong, I can correct it later on in the comments. I think Roman Coppola is the son of famous director Francis Ford Coppola, known for Godfather fame and Apocalypse Now. So Roman Coppola is Francis Ford Coppola's son, and Francis Coppola also has a daughter, Sofia Coppola, who's also a movie director, who did the movie Lost in Translation, The Virgin Suicides, some other movies I can't remember. And she was famously known for ruining The Godfather 3 with her acting. But anyway, so there's all these relations. Jason Schwartzman, I think, is cousins to Roman Coppola. I think Francis Ford Coppola is his uncle. And I want to say my brother-in-law would be pissed off too because he's telling me this a million times. I think Nicolas Cage is somehow related. He might be also be a cousin to these guys.
Oh, really?
So Jason Schwartzman is the lead actor in this movie, but yeah, so like I think Roman Coppola is his cousin, and and Jason Schwartzman comes out in a lot of Wes Anderson movies, and I think he's even helped write some movies with Wes Anderson.
Mhm.
But anyway, but that in this like I don't know, I was like, so I was just kind of interested, like, and I guess we can get to it later on towards the end, but like I was interested, especially since this is going to be the first official Wes Anderson movie you saw full length, right?
Correct.
So yeah, interested to see what you thought or you on it.
Okay.
But how would you give a brief summary of like the movie or like I guess
Because it's well, first it has like a big cast. It's kind of I'll say A-listers, but it's a pretty big cast of people. And Bryan Cranston's kind of the narrator, the Rob Serling of
yeah
the movie, and it's what a play. The movie's done in where there it's a play that's kind of the movie that's I guess done in its entirety, but for us as the viewer, it's I guess done in the movie way, but it's going by it's going about that in regards to this small little town I guess called Asteroid City, and that's what this play is about. And it's a group of I guess they're having some type of anniversary there, and they're having this like very mini science convention where they're showing up for this anniversary, and
yeah
they're
stargazers and space cadets. It's yeah these science nerd kids are
yes.
showing up to this fictitious city, Asteroid City or whatever.
Yes, and I guess there's some type of either scholarship contest. There's a prize money basically, and they're gonna gaze because some of the I forgot what it was, if it's constellations or some type of alignment of that they were all gonna gaze upon, and while waiting for that to happen, I guess it gives a chance for a lot of these actors to mingle with each other, and then there's like a big what the hell moment.
Okay, from the trailer, like I watched the trailer maybe earlier today,
Mhm.
and like man, I kind of hate like how way trailers like the trailer gave away a lot. Like I'm in the situation now. Like I'm a kind of like I'm a big fan of Wes Anderson, so it's like I'll see whatever movie he makes, regardless if I know what it's about, like seeing trailers or not.
Yeah,
So when I rewatched the trailer, like man, they give away a lot. Well, one of the big things they didn't give away was that yeah, like you said, that a main part of this is that well from the trailer you don't know that what you're watching is actually a play. It's like I guess it's a play. It's like the movie is about a play like you said, and like the creation of the play, the writing of the play, and then the actual acting, the performance of the play, which is the movie that we're watching, Asteroid City. And like you said, something happens while they're there, and I guess that's kind of just a really brief non-spoiler before we start getting into everything rundown. And like you said, one of Wes Anderson's things that he does is he does use a big cast of actors. Like he's kind of known for doing that. The main actors in this one are Jason Schwartzman, Scarlett Johansson, and like you said, Bryan Cranston, Tom Hanks, Ed Norton, Adrian Brody. I don't know. If you look up the list, it's like a shitload of actors in this movie. Margot Robbie comes out in this.
William Dafoe.
William Dafoe. And it's just insane. Like if you were to see it, like you wouldn't like you could it's like how is he gonna make this work? Like is it just like a gimmick or whatnot? Because it's so many people that are in it. Hope Davis, is that her name? Yeah, I think it's the name Hope Davis. And some other familiar faces and a bunch of like young kid actors or teenage actors. Steve Carell's also in it.
Yeah.
And then I just found out it was interesting. You know, the school teacher, there's a school teacher that, like, on the field trip brought about maybe 10, maybe elementary school students.
Yes.
You know who the school teacher is?
She was the same actress from Uma Thurman's kid.
Yeah, I didn't know that at all. That's Uma Thurman's daughter. Yeah, that's what I was trying to surprise you or see if you knew.
Yeah, because she's in Stranger Things. She's one of the main characters. Through that, it's like it just popped in my head. I forgot until you just kind of were hyping it up. But yes,
The school teacher comes out in Stranger Things?
yes.
Was it just the last season?
No, she's been in it. She's the one who works at that ice cream stand.
Yeah, I didn't know. Do you know who her dad is? Who her father is?
Was it Ethan Hawke?
How the fuck did you know that? But yeah, that's like I was looking that up and I was like, yeah, that's crazy. So she actually her whatever her name is, I should look it up, but like it's Hawk is her last name, like Ethan Hawke.
Mm,
So yeah, she's the daughter of Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke.
it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's very crazy.
But that's where I mainly know her from because she was in Stranger Things. She was in that other Netflix show, Fear Street. she was in that for a brief moment, but I guess
Yeah.
that's where her stardom is or was. But yeah, when I saw her, it's like I thought she was familiar, but yeah, that popped. Yes, but yeah, this movie it has a big cast, and it kind of starts off with the one family, but then like as everyone starts to trickle in for this event, that's when like everyone kind of like is on top of each other.
Matt Dillon's also in it. He's the mechanic.
Who'd you say?
But Matt Dillon?
Okay, I'm thinking Matt Damon.
No, Matt Dillon.
Yes.
Not from Gunsmoke or what the hell was Matt Dillon also the sheriff in Gunsmoke? But no, yeah, and that's kind of like a crappy rundown without really giving too much spoilers away.
Yeah. So, spoiler alert going forward. In regards to this movie, just I guess a side note, I don't think I ever saw a trailer for this in any of the movies that I've seen lately. Like, I was looking up the draft house for movies coming up, and this popped up, so I figured it was gonna be on your radar. But the only time I saw a trailer is when I looked it up on YouTube, and I only saw it the one time because yeah, I didn't want to, like as you said earlier, trailers now tend to give a lot of the movie away, so I didn't want to watch it too much. I haven't watched it again since seeing the movie, but
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think I saw the trailer in theaters either.
because
Go to the theaters.
yeah, when I first saw it, I thought it was almost like this Oppenheimer, since that's kind of also coming out. I was wondering if it's kind of be a similar type movie, but
Oh, it's interestingly enough because of the I don't know. Well, I guess it's like alternate reality because you find out right away that the movie starts off. Edward Norton is the writer of this play that we're gonna watch, or the movie technically, if we refer to it as the movie or the play. It's kind of like a meta thing. But Edward Norton, it starts off with he's the writer. He's Conrad something, I forget his name was, but he's the one that wrote. He's a playwright. He's the one that wrote what would be the play called Asteroid City that we watch. And we find that right away from Bryan Cranston. So there's kind of like several levels of realities going on in here because Bryan Cranston's narrating the beginning and throughout as Edward Norton is the writer who creates the story. And then the movie, like we jump back, mostly we stick with the movie, which is the play, but we jump back to the creation and then the actors rehearsing kind of or trying to find the thing like I don't
yeah,
know.
trying to spitball some ideas.
Yeah, but the main actor, which is like I don't know, this is pretty awesome too. Like the main actor in this movie is Jason Schwartzman. Mostly, it's like it revolves around him and his family, and it's kind of neat because like pretty much all these actors are bigger names than Jason Schwartzman. Like, are you familiar with any other movies Jason Schwartzman's been in besides like Wes Anderson movies?
Was he in Rushmore?
Yeah, he was a little kid. Well, not little kid, but I guess he was like a high school kid or in Rushmore.
To be honest, not, I thought he looked like a lot like Steve Carell, so I was kind of confusing him at first until saw Steve Carell's separate character in the shop. I thought it was kind of like the same person, but
All right, you go ahead and edit that out because that's dumb. Yeah. No, to be honest, I didn't know that. Like, it's funny because I didn't know that was Jason Schwartzman. He looks different. Like, I don't know, in this movie does look kind of different. But then I don't know. Like, he's mostly been in Wes Anderson movies. He was in I Heart Huckabee, but I don't know what other movies he's been in. He's also a drummer. I don't know.
yeah,
You remember that show, The OC? You
no,
used to watch it all the time and record it on your VHS tapes.
no,
Yeah, you did.
what's a VHS tape?
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know the OC. I know we never watched it, but it was like the famous show on Fox for a while, like a Melrose Place type Dawson's Creek show. I don't know, but the theme song, that song, California, California. You remember that song?
No, because I never saw the show.
It was famous before the show, and the show made it more famous because they chose it as their theme song.
I
So,
still don't know the song.
yeah, all right.
Wasn't that famous.
Yeah, you would know it if you hear it. But anyway, he's the drummer for so that song. When you do hear it, you can put the link. California. He's the drummer. Anyway, I don't know. We're
Well, you should have
digressing
edited
big
that
time.
part out too.
He's the father of four, and his son, like this that's going on in Asteroid City, is like stargazers and junior space cadets, but all the people there are pretty nerdy and smart and super intelligent. So Jason Schwartzman, I guess, was taking his family there. His son, I think, was Woodrow, and his 3 daughters. So he has 4 kids. And as they get to Asteroid City, the car breaks down. Or before they got, I guess it starts off with the car is being towed to Asteroid City.
Yes.
And like I said, we don't try not to go to like everything that happens. But Matt Dillon is his cameo, or not cameo, but his part is he's the mechanic, and then he tells Jason Schwartzman either this is basically gonna be really good or really bad, depending. I don't know. That might be a cheap fix, or it might be a total wash. And then what happened?
What looked like it was gonna be a quick fix. You're trying it. It's like, oh, it's fine. You owe me nothing, and the car pretty much almost explodes. Not explodes, but it falls apart. Something shoots out from under the car, and he's like, oh, this is a third option. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's wrong with your car. And that was pretty
Yeah,
funny the way that went out.
yeah, we cannot doing it justice because yeah, like man, that's just what's badass. Like these actors do, like it's just like in the whatever small roles they got in the movie, they're pretty solid. Like Matt Dillon's telling them like, this is the second time I've had an incident like this occur. The first or the third time. The first time it was a cheap 75 cent repair where
Part.
yeah, just the part I did change the part out and that was it. The second time it happened, the car was a total like waste. And then he points and you see the car there and it was abandoned over there and he points and you see the car. And then Jason Schwartzman's like, which scenario is ours going to be? And he goes, we'll find out or some shit like that. And then, yeah, it looked like it was going to be good. And then the car.
Yep. Car dies.
And it's convenient and inconvenient because at the same time they made it to Asteroid City where that kind of was part their destination. And also it kind of means that they're stuck there for a bit at least.
Yeah.
And just a quick side note, on the car it said French Dispatch, which is I guess a throwback to Wes Anderson's previous movie. So the car had the name of the main character, Jason Schwartzman, is Augie Steinbeck or something like that. And he's like a photographer, primarily war photographer.
Yeah. I don't know
And
why.
again, the what?
I don't know why they would pick that name, but okay.
It's the best name, that's why. And then, yeah, so I know you mentioned Oppenheimer real quick. So the nuclear testing is going on coincidentally during this Asteroid City thing where they're coming there, the science fair thing or whatnot is happening, and it's the anniversary of when the asteroid landed so many thousands of years ago.
Yes, because yeah, he takes a picture of it as to the people at the diner. It's nothing. It's just like it's another atom bomb test. But yeah, you see the mushroom cloud in the distance.
And then shortly after that, that's when it cuts back to Edward Norton, which is it's kind of weird. It does these jumps, and then the flashbacks or the creation of the play is all done in black and white, I guess, to separate the two times, the continuity of the two timelines.
Yeah.
So it's weird, and it's meta and it's kind of weird because so then it flashes back to like Edward Norton kind of writing the play, and then when he first meets the actor who's gonna play Augie, well, he meets Jason Schwartzman. I forget what his name is. It's weird because so technically his name is Augie in the play, but he's also the actor. And then they show when he meets Edward Norton, and he's trying to kind of convince Edward Norton that he's the right person for the part. And I don't know, he just finished his Broadway play or some I don't know, play that wasn't doing too good, and then he brought Edward Norton some ice cream or something. And again, so this was nuclear testing, so this is taking place in the 50s, right?
Yeah. 40s,
So
50s. Yeah.
yeah, I want to say 52. No, it can't be 52. I don't know. I think it's the 50s, but then World War II ended in 45, I think. I don't know. Anyway, so it's just kind of interesting. So he's like the actor meeting the writer, and he's trying to convince him, and he comes and he rehearses a part in front of him, and then Edward Norton tells him, "You're perfect for this role. You're perfect." He just says that, and they look at each other weirdly, and then they start making out.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. And then it cuts back to look in color to Asteroid City. And then we just basically start meeting the other characters. Scarlett Johansson she's there with her daughter, who's like one of the Brainiac kids. And
Yes.
she's a famous actress so she's an actor pretending to be a famous actress in the play Asteroid City, and she's there with her daughter. And then it's just like an ensemble, and then we meet a couple of other kids and their parents. We meet Steve Carell,
Yeah,
who's
because
like,
he's the one running I guess, the bed and breakfast there.
yeah, they're just renting out basically little, I guess, little cottages or whatever, maybe these little huts for them to stay at, because it's kind of where the nuclear testing was. It's in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
But I guess it's safe to say that Augie's son Woodrow is probably the smartest out of the smart kids. And I guess the big thing too that we're kind of well, we missed Augie calls his father-in-law because he wants the father-in-law played by Tom Hanks to come pick up the three daughters, because he's gonna stay there with Woodrow, who's part of the science fair convention, who's trying to win the scholarship or whatnot. And then we come to find out that Tom Hanks' daughter, which is Augie's wife, mother to the kids, has passed away a couple weeks ago. Which is just kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
And he hasn't told the kids. It's been like 2 or 3 weeks since they've seen their mom. And Jason Schwartzman or Augie hasn't told the kids that their mother has passed away. And it's just like one of those weird, and that's kind of like a Wes Anderson thing too, where it's like everything is real like funny and silly and comical, but then there's these real serious things also going on, and it's like, man, it's like a bummer. Like that's kind of like that's tough.
Yeah.
And then Tom Hanks is like, yeah, like he kind of senses that he didn't tell the kids that mom's dead, but when he finds out where they're at and that the car broke down, he's like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go over there and I'll pick up the kids or the grandkids.
Because yeah, the Augie character kept saying that there was never the right time, or he couldn't find the right moment to tell them. But it seemed like he just kept coming up with an excuse one way or another to just kind of not bring it up.
Yeah, and he even said himself, it's never the right time, or Tom Hanks said that, or they both said that it's never the right time, or somebody says it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of true, but at the same time, well, you still got to let these kids know. And eventually, shortly after, he does tell the kids about mom, and he has mom's ashes in this little Tupperware container.
Yeah.
And they kind of take it interestingly. They kind of take it kind of weird. Like he asked the son, the smart one, Woodrow, like if he knew, and he said, "I kind of sensed it." And the daughters were kind of sad or kind of confused, but it was just kind of weird.
Because it's a pretty big age gap between the brother and the daughters,
Yeah,
or sisters.
yeah, and it's funny. The sisters are cute as hell. Like they pretend to be witches or zombie witches or vampire witches and princesses or whatever. But yeah, and then he finally tells them, and that their ashes are the mom's ashes are in this little Tupperware container.
Yeah, but for the most part, they take the news kind of decent. I mean, the girls are kind of like, "Oh, when's mom coming back?" and all that. So the dad's just kind of trying to explain to them, like, she's gone. She's not coming back.
It's just awkward because he said that when he was little, and when his father passed away, or one of his mother's father passed away, or his father, I guess, his mom, Jason Schwartzman's mom, or Augie's mom, told him he's in the stars now, and then like he's all nerd. Like I guess obviously Woodrow, the son, is smart because Jason Schwartzman is pretty smart too and kind of a nerd. He's like, I knew that wasn't true. My father was not in the stars. So I don't know why. My mother told me that because, and then he spews all the science stuff about how it's not possible for his dad or whatnot to be in the stars.
Yeah, but because at that point they're still just kind of trying to still kind of just lay down the foundation with the other stars, right? Because I guess the biggest relationship between all the others is Augie's character and Scarlett Johansson's character.
Yeah, I think her name is Midge. But yeah, basically, like it just goes into these little, like for as many characters as there are, like they all got their little moments of like in the movie, and like yeah, they're all there for that weekend or whatnot, and then they even go over the itinerary. This is what's gonna happen. Like this is day one. We're gonna do this. We're gonna see the inventions and whatnot. We're gonna watch the stars or the eclipse thing or whatever it is, and then we're gonna have the presentation of the check the next day and all this other stuff. I don't know. It's just like a little 2 day thing or whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's just a bunch of odd characters. There's also like this group of like cowboy musicians that are there too that were just kind of like the bus left them or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
they missed the bus.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. So that's what's going on the reality of the play, the color part of the movie, where it's like, okay, so we're in Asteroid City. Augie's kind of waiting for father-in-law Tom Hanks to come. His wife is dead. All these quirky kids are there. They're all smart kids, but kind of awkward. And they all got their own science experiments that they're trying to see who's going to win the scholarship. And the parents are kind of weird there too. And then in the other timeline, like Edward Norton, like I said, that shows him starting to write the play. Then he meets, I guess at some point the play's done, and he meets that Augie, or the real person. It's not, his name is not Augie. That's the actor. That's the name of his character in Asteroid City. But he meets that character. He gets the part. Jason Schwartzman gets the part. They make out. And then I'm trying to think, what's the next thing in the timeline of that, or do they stay in Asteroid City for a while?
Trying to remember.
But either way, like you mentioned, like the main thing is what's happening in the colored version, which is kind of weird because like you forget that you're actually watching the fictitious play that this fictitious character created in this movie that we, the audience, are watching. And
Yeah.
like you said, in that play, which is the movie we're watching, Scarlett Johansson and Jason Schwartzman form a connection. Like he takes a picture of her, and they kind of have like this tension, like this attraction. You can kind of sense it, but like they're Scarlett Johansson's there with her daughter, and Schwartzman's there with his kids, and his wife just passed away, and their relationship is kind of like it's seeming like there's more there. And anyway, they go along their itinerary to where it's nighttime and they're watching whatever it is. I don't know, what was it, like the lunar eclipse or some type of thing like that, where like kind of like they have to
Yeah.
put this box over their head because they can't stare directly into the sky or whatever.
Yeah, so, some type of alignment that they can only see like at midnight, and because yeah, one of the scientists leads like, oh, you be sure to use this cardboard box contraption. If not, it's gonna get burned into your retinas like it did to me 30 some odd years ago. And
And that was Tilda Swinton.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's like either however we do this, like we're not gonna do justice to all the little quirky jokes and little character like nuances. Like we're just dryly describing what's going on in the movie, but there's a lot of like, well, at least to me, a lot of charm, and like these characters are quirky. Which is, if you're familiar with the Wes Anderson, it's pretty typical. But yeah, it's like the Tilda Swinton character is like she's a scientist too, and she was probably very much like these kids when she was that age. And yeah, she mentioned that she didn't use the box when she was younger. She stared directly at it, and then she has those dots burned into her eyes.
yeah,
That shit was funny. Like I don't know, like that joke comes back later on. But what happens while they're looking at the lights or the clips or whatever that thing was?
yeah. Everything was going good. There was, I guess, three blue dots, one right after the other, and like, okay, looks like this is working, and then like it looks like a fourth dot comes up, but this fourth dot is green, and the Augie's son, I'm sorry, I forgot his name.
Woodrow?
Woodward?
Woodrow.
Woodrow?
Woodrow.
Yes. I guess he's kind of the first to notice that what's up, and he takes the cardboard box off from over his head, and the whole area is just illuminated green. And looking right above, there's like this giant glass paneled flying saucer just kind of hovering right above them, very low orbit. It's like, yeah, like maybe what, 20 feet above them.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's just dumbfounded with like, what the hell is this going on? And it's very quiet. It's just a bright green light, and then the very bottom opens up, and it seems like I guess a rod is just kind of lowers down, and as it keeps getting closer, it's getting close basically to the ground level, and you see these feet from, I guess, what looks to be an alien kind of slowly makes its way down the
Flying
rod.
saucer.
Yeah, and it looked kind of not cheesy, but it looked like it was some type of CGI or some type of animation.
I'm pretty sure it was claymation. I don't know. What do you think of the alien?
I was like, what the hell? It looked interesting, and because I guess at their feet where they were at, it was the actual asteroid that was maybe the size of a basketball that made this giant crater.
Yeah, so many thousands of years BC. That's why they're having the science fair. That's why it's called Asteroid City, because that's where that asteroid landed so many thousands of years ago.
Yeah, and
They just had like a little cage around it, a little just thing around it.
yeah, and the alien was they said it's tall. And it was from a kid saying maybe it was like 6'7", but it looked kind of tall, kind of lanky, and he was wearing like a black spacesuit. and not quite the traditional alien with like the big eyes and the small mouth or whatnot, but it just looked
It was deliberately like funny looking. Not it wasn't. It's not like it was meant to be scary or try to
taken
go out of the way
seriously.
to yeah to be taken seriously. It's kind of like a Wes Anderson thing. Like in The Life Aquatic, they have the jaguar shark, and this is kind of like the this version of the jaguar shark, where it's just like this weird claymation, funny looking. Like yeah, like way like oh you could have done more fancy graphics or made it look more realistic. But it's just funny. So the alien comes down, and what does the alien do?
It looks very shy, like it doesn't know it should be there, and everyone's watching and no one's saying anything. The Augie's able to take a picture of it, and it doesn't freak out or react to its picture being taken. But as they're just standing there dumbfolded, it just kind of reaches down and scoops up the asteroid, and it takes it back with them on the ship, and it just flies away.
You kind of misremembered that. It picks up the asteroid first, and then it kind of like sees Steve Carell, I mean not Steve Carell, sees Augie, Jason Schwartzman pick up his camera because again, like I said, he's a war photographer. He's always there taking pictures of stuff. And then he pulls up the camera to take the picture of the alien. The alien stops, and then he kind of poses. He does this weird look, and he holds still, just so Steve Carell, Jason Schwartzman could take the picture. That was another little funny little thing. He just holds the thing like that, and he takes the picture. And then yeah, like he goes back up into the flying saucer and just flies away super fast, and then he leaves, and everybody's like, he took the asteroid. He took the asteroid.
But yeah, this is like, what the hell just happened? And I'm trying to remember because somewhere in the mix it goes back and forth between this and the black and white, I guess, and that's what they kind of mentioned like was Adrian Brody, like where he's what the director, I guess, for the play.
Yes. So it goes. Yeah, I'm not trying to remember what happens. So in the timeline, it started with Ed Norton writing the play, and then I don't know if it goes to the Adrian Brody part yet, but then it goes to like him talking to a troupe of actors about the story, and I guess like no parts have been assigned, but all these characters that are in the movie are part of this acting troupe that's just in the audience. Of you see Edward Norton just talking to this group of actors, and like Scarlett Johansson's in the crowd. You see Jason Schwartzman. You see all the primary characters that are going to be in the movie that we're watching, which is technically the play that's being performed, and they're all just actors in this troupe. And he's just talking to him about his play and stuff like that. And then it turns out that yeah, Adrian Brody is going to be the director of the play that, or technically the movie that we're watching. And I guess it's kind of relevant. I think. I think it's relevant, but I don't know.
Because yeah, they're showing that I guess he's basically living on set for throughout the duration of this play, and
Yeah,
because Adrian Brody's character he has like a broken marriage, and I guess they have a kid together, which again he has like a I guess a distant relationship with both of them, and it's kind of not weird, but I guess showing the backstory for him and his role in the black and white reality.
I want to say I'm trying to look it up on IMDb right now, but I'm almost 100% certain that Adrian Brody's girlfriend, wife, whatever, in the show, because like Adrian Brody's obsessed with his play. Like you said, he's living on the set. He's not living in a hotel room. He's having issues with his marriage. And this is not like they go into this in great detail. It's just like a conversation. Like, and the wife, girlfriend, whatever, is telling him like, I guess the relationship is over. But the woman, his wife or girlfriend in the movie, I want to say is the same girl that was the love interest to Jason Schwartzman from Rushmore.
Oh
I
yeah,
think her name. I think her name in Rushmore was Margaret. I forget, but it's not like she's a famous actress. But I want to say she's the girl that was the love interest of Schwartzman.
hmm
Kind of not really the love interest, not really, but also the other nerdy kid in Rushmore. But anyway, and yeah, Adrian Brody's trying to make this play.
yes, because at some point there's another black and white scene where was it Adrian Brody? He sent the kid who's playing Woodrow to stop Scarlett Johansson from because I guess she's gonna be in the play, but she was gonna bail on it, and they send the person
Yeah,
who's playing Woodrow to stop her. I guess who also ends up in the play.
yeah, he does such a good job. Like, yeah, it's Adrian Brody sends on the train. Yeah, Scarlett Johansson's on the train, and that character. It's hard to explain. That character it was sent. It was his job to give Scarlett Johansson the message or whatever. Adrian Brody was trying to convince her to come back to do the play, and then he was just some understudy that it was his job to just go and deliver the message. But he did such a good job in conveying the message that he ended up getting the part for. That's like hard to explain, but yeah, it's like it's not making much sense. But yeah, it's kind of funny, like when it's like, oh, okay, like because we see him as the actor first before we know that's how he got the job.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the Asteroid City timeline. Then, since the alien, and obviously our government doesn't want like the world to know about aliens, so the government comes in and kind of quarantines everybody that's there for that. It's like this little town that nobody lives in, but it's just famous for that asteroid landing there. The government comes and sequesters everybody, all the kids and the parents, and is trying to convince them that there wasn't an alien and not to be talking about the alien. But all anybody can talk about there, all the kids, all they can talk about is the alien.
Yeah. And it's kind of typical what you see in any other military quarantine movie. Like everyone's isolated during the quarantine. They can't communicate with the outside world. Outside world can't communicate with them. And they're not necessarily freaking out, but just wondering how long they're going to be held captive there. And yeah, everyone, they're trying to do their best to like kind of act like that didn't just happen and they didn't just see an alien steal their asteroid. But yeah, it's basically the talk of such a little small town, and there's not really a whole lot else they can do. But I guess one of the nerdy kids, he's like he has some type of newspaper role with his school back home, and he finds some ingenious MacGyver way to basically connect this fancy device to the telephone line, and that's how he's able to get the scoop out to one of his friends, and I guess gave him the information. At which point, the news spreads like wildfire that they were visited by an alien.
Yeah, it's just kind of funny, and it's kind of like one of those Wes Anderson things. Like, because the government, some general guys there talking to him and saying, "You didn't see anything." The Asian son is like, "We saw the alien," or whatever, whatever. And it's just like this funny little exchange where it's like this. I don't know, like it's kind of very Wes Anderson, like kind
Mhm.
of like Rushmore, where it's like this intense exchange, but it's all dumb.
Yeah.
Like, I will not reveal my sources, and like whatever, whatever. And it's just some other high school kid was his source that he didn't want to give up to the government or whatever.
Yeah.
But also, I guess too, during the, like on and off throughout the movie, they're kind of establishing Jason Schwartzman's character to with Scarlett Johansson's character, because they kind of are bunked right across from each other, and they kind of talk through the windows and have these conversations with each other. And like it's another Wes Anderson thing where like these moments of seriousness come in like all of a sudden out of nowhere. And like Scarlett Johansson, well, obviously she's a character, but that character's existence is talking about like she just doesn't really she loves her daughter, but she's not a good mother, that she just mostly cares about her fame and her being an actress and her being recognized and her being famous and stuff like that. And she had a pretty tough upbringing, I guess. Her father and uncles and brothers, everybody kind of just abused her along the way, and she's just kind of like real void of emotions or showing emotions. And Jason Schwartzman is very much the same too. And that's what I mean. They kind of Shyamalan, and I always call it Shyamalan when like a director kind of explains something that he kind of wants the audience to know. But it's fine in this case. But Scarlett Johansson's kind of like, I realize we get along so well. We have so much we're in common because we're both really extremely hurt people or whatever, and we choose not to talk about our pain or whatever. Like, I don't know. Do you remember how she said it or no?
Not really, but it's something along those lines. Yeah, that they both almost like they both know damage kind of thing.
Yeah, and they just instead of trying to deal with it, they just decide not to talk about it. And like she's saying that, and then Jason Schwartzman realizes, yeah, that's accurate what she says, and he's like, "You're right. Can we talk about something else now?" Like they connect, and that's kind of going to be kind of deeper into like the themes of like they're both real. They can't make that connection because they're just too damaged and they're too focused on the next thing. Like Scarlett Johansson's always focused on the next movie, the next role, and the Augie character is only focused on what his thing is, where he's going to go, his next scoop or his next photography assignment or whatever. So they both kind of are both very similar. They don't know how to deal with their pain.
Yes, I guess while they're stuck there, they do form this bond, and to an extent, they're kids, her daughter, his son, also form a bond amongst the other nerds.
Yeah, there's a little love thing going on, or little between, yeah, the two, like you said, Scarlett Johansson's daughter and Augie's son. And then Tom Hanks shows up too, pretty much on day one, later on day one or day two. And while he's showing up, or shortly before he showed up, the three daughters decided to bury the ashes just in the ground right there. And then Tom Hanks comes and he starts talking to the daughters, who I guess haven't seen him in for a while because they didn't recognize him. He tries to take the Tupperware bin with the ashes of his daughter, their mother, out of the ground, and the daughters, who are pretending to be witches or I don't know, fairies or whatnot, tell him, don't do that, and all this stuff. And Tom Hanks is kind of like, okay, we'll leave it in the ground for now, and then when we leave, we'll dig her back up and we'll bury her in my house. And they just leave the ashes in the ground over there in Asteroid City.
Yeah, in the thing, they're trying to do the best to do the quarantine, because the quarantine was supposed to last like a week or something like that per some presidential order. And all the while, I guess some of the kids, they're trying to figure out how to communicate to the alien. They're kind of acquiring nearby equipment to see if they can, one way or another, reach out to the alien, to talk to it, communicate with it. What seems like there's no luck. And I guess they decide to carry on with the ceremonies to kind of, they need to finish it, need to declare a winner, they need to see what's going on. They're back in the same spot where they had the first ceremony, and they're trying to announce a winner. And that's when they get another visit, and that's pretty much the end of quarantine. There's like, oh, you all will be released tomorrow, first thing in the morning, and they get a visit by the same alien. And I don't think it comes out of it does not come out of a spaceship this time, but it opens the hatch and it just drops the asteroid more or less where I guess it wasn't initially, and it just takes off. And
Yeah, you don't even see the alien, really, just see the hands come out and yeah, just wrong. Yeah, so like you said, like they were just like they were in quarantine, and then the story broke anyway. The kids found a way to leak that there was an alien, and even the picture that Jason Schwartzman took got leaked out. And so like basically the outside world knows about the alien, so the government can't really cover it up anymore. So they kind of ended the quarantine. And then, like you said, at that moment, shortly after, the alien comes back, and the general guy is kind of like declaring the quarantine to be back on. But then, like, one of the kids invented like this ray gun, and it just kind of starts going all hectic, and they start shooting and destroying everything and start leaving. And it's interesting because like it's where like it gets kind of confusing. Like the alien drops the asteroid, and the general guy, I can't remember the actor's name. He's the one from
Westworld.
Westworld, and he's like, they look at the asteroid, and there's like, now there's writing on those little like kind of hieroglyphics on the asteroid, and he's like, it's been inventoried. And so then, but like all hell's breaking loose. And then there's this other side storyline that's going on between Jason Schwartzman's actor character, not the Augie character, but his actor, the actor, because he was asking when he first met Ed Norton, he was referring to a scene which obviously we don't see in the movie until later on. He's asking Ed Norton, why does Augie burn his hand on the griddle or whatever? And Edward Norton was like, I don't know, it just seemed right. And Jason Schwartzman is kind of like fixated on that. And then later on, before this happens, we kind of left it out. It turns out that him and Scarlett Johansson made love to each other, and I guess Scarlett Johansson's daughter saw,
Yeah.
and she's talking to Jason Schwartzman about it while he's making a grilled cheese sandwich, and she's just telling him about it. And then, like I said, probably maybe minute 10 into the movie, that's when Jason Schwartzman's asking Ed Norton about why did Augie burn his hand on the griddle. And maybe it's about an hour and 20 minutes into the movie now, we finally see that scene when Scarlett Johansson's talking to him about their relationship and stuff like that. She's like, well, what? Because he asked her, well, did you tell Woodrow? Did she tell Woodrow? You should just tell him that we were rehearsing a scene, and that like nothing really happened. We were just rehearsing a scene. And Scarlett Johansson's like, I said, I didn't think of that, but I just told my daughter the truth. And then she's just trying to talk into Schwartzman, and Schwartzman's kind of like, he's just kind of just there. And he starts eating his grilled cheese sandwich, and I forget what the exact thing she says to him is, but then all of a sudden he just puts his hand on the the griddle or whatever. And she's like, "Did you just burn your hand for real? Why did you do that? Why did you burn your hand?" And the Augie is like, "I don't know. I don't know why I did that." And then it cuts fast forward back to like what we were talking about after the quarantine's lifted, the alien comes back, drops the meteorite or the asteroid. Jason Schwartz, like all this stuff is going on in the play. Jason Schwartzman decides to walk off stage, and that's when he talks to Adrian Brody. He goes off stage and he sees Adrian Brody like behind the stage, I guess, of the play, which is actual movie we're watching. And he tells him what's going on. Like, I'm feeling sad and all this other stuff. And he's just starting talking about what does it all mean? I don't understand it. Before that happens, he's walking backstage trying to find Adrian Brody, and then he passes the alien. Jeff Goldblum turns out to be the alien. He's just like he's in the alien costume.
Yeah.
And it's just like that's like a super brief cameo. So it turns out that in the play, Jeff Goldblum was playing the alien. He was like, Jason Schwartzman just walks by him, and then he finds Adrian Brody, and he just starts talking about how he's feeling all this stuff, and he doesn't know what's happening. He doesn't understand it. Like, what does it all mean? And then Adrian Brody just tells him, "You don't have to understand it. Like, just go, just keep doing it, like it's working." And then he's like, "I need to get some fresh air." And Adrian Brody tells him, "Well, you're not going to find any here." But then eventually he just walks and leaves the play, and he ends up, I guess, going to the balcony where across in the other building he sees Margot Robbie, who's another actor, but she's dressed up differently for another play that she's doing. She's not in the same building, but I guess it's like some New York type place where the buildings are across from each other, and you see those little
Fire
outside,
escapes.
yeah, fire escapes. And he's like, "Oh, how's the play going? Like, you remember me? I was gonna play your wife in this movie, but they cut me out of the movie." So yeah, Margot Robbie character, it turns out she doesn't come out really in the play Asteroid City, but she was gonna play the wife of Augie that passed away. And then Jason Schwartzman goes, "Well, yeah, well, we kept your picture because in sometime in the movie he shows her this is a picture of my wife, and it's a picture of Margot Robbie." And she just tells him, "Oh, that," she just talks to him about, and I was gonna be in that play. And then Jason Schwartzman was like, I don't remember what our scene was." And then Margot Robbie just goes over the scene, which I guess we can go into detail later, but she just goes over the scene, like what it would have been like.
Yeah.
And like Jason Schwartzman's just having this conflict, like he's trying to figure everything out. Like, what's happening? I'm trying to think what happens after that. What happens after he goes back in, and then what happens when he returns to the play? Well, Matt Dillon comes and says, "Hey, they're looking for you.
You
You
missed your
missed your
cue.
cue." So Schwartzman goes back to the play, which at that point, like all hell's breaking loose. Everybody's trying to escape the quarantine in the play, and then he just wakes up, right? Like he wakes up inside Asteroid City.
Yeah. What's his face? The guy
Steve
from The
Carell.
Office. Yeah. He's cleaning out Scarlett Johansson's apartment or whatever it is, her little hut. And that's when Steve Carell lets him know that they lifted the quarantine early morning and pretty much everyone took off as soon as it was lifted. But the Augie character and his family, they all slept in. They're the only ones kind of left behind.
Yeah. So there was no really big goodbye between those two, between like the Augie character and the Scarlett Johansson character. And they decide to leave, and then Tom Hanks is gonna bring the mom, he's gonna undig the Tupperware and take the ashes, but then the daughters are still against it. They're like, "No, no, 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 no. Leave her there, leave her there." And Tom Hanks was like, "Okay, I don't have any, I don't, whatever, I'm old, I don't have the power, I don't have the energy to try to argue with you and try to convince you why I shouldn't take your mother out of the ground here in this asteroid city. And I don't think your dad, Augie, even cares at this point." And then the Augie character is like, I don't. Or like I don't think Augie's gonna fight for it anyway either, and he doesn't. And then they ask the son, "Well, how about you, Woodrow? What do you think about all this?" And he's like, "Well, I don't even believe in God and all this stuff like that, or something like that." And then basically they go back to the diner, the little diner that's there, and they order their last breakfast, I guess, before they head out.
Yeah.
And it turns out that the son the Woodrow did win the scholarship.
Yes, he was given a regular sized check during the melee the night before that the general guy just wanted to get it over with and to kind of slipped him the check and was like, congratulations. And it was also at the diner that the waitress lets the dad Augie know that I guess Scarlett Johansson's character left him her address. It was only a PO box, but nonetheless it was her address to I guess stay in touch.
Yeah, and then that's pretty much it. After they order their breakfast, they eat. They load up on Tom Hanks's car and they leave.
Yeah, but not before another atom bomb test goes off. Tom Hanks is all right with him shacking up with Scarlett Johansson's character, or his Augie character.
Yeah, and that's it. Like that's pretty much where the movie ends.
Yeah,
All right. So, what did you think? I guess like of the movie, since it was, I guess, your first full Wes Anderson experience.
it was definitely quirky. I like the characters. Despite it being a big cast, it wasn't yeah overwhelming with them. I guess like they weren't on top of each other. I guess it was well done. The one scene that's popped in my head I meant to bring up earlier, but I forgot was when Bryan Cranston's character came out in the play. There was
Yeah,
the women were talking, and then they're gonna I guess get in depth about talking to Scarlett Johansson's character, and they both look, and Bryan Cranston's just there, and he's in color, where he all up until now he was always in black and white, and it's like, oh, am I not in this scene? And they just like shake their head no, and he just like walked out of the scene, and it just goes back to the two women talking. I was like, what the hell?
yeah,
It was like a Spaceballs moment or something. But it was definitely quirky. I liked it. It was yeah, again, watching the trailer only once, I kind of had an idea of what was going on, but it never eluded that it was a play within the movie, and then going back and forth between realities, I guess.
yeah,
So I thought that was a cool sleight of hand or whatnot. I wouldn't mind checking out his other movies. Like I don't think I'd watch them back to back to back to back, but I'll definitely check out his other films. But I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was entertaining, and like you said, it kind of had its serious moments in there here and there with just the dialogue, what was going on, but then it I guess got kind of balanced out with whatever I guess kind of comic relief or tension relief that was going on as well.
yeah. Like it's hard to do it justice. Like you just have like I mean, would you recommend it? Like
I would recommend it, but I don't think it would be well received, I guess. It'd be very easy for it to for oh, on that note, how was your experience seeing it in the theaters?
Well, I had seen it twice actually. I saw it twice. The first time it was, each time it was about the same as like it was about the same amount of people. The first time, I think there was more people that were like because it was like the day it came out or the day after it came out.
Yeah,
So probably more people that were familiar with the Wes Anderson because they kind of got the jokes and they were kind of laugh at certain parts that were kind of like.
yeah,
And then the second time I watched it, like a lot of the comic beats weren't like being laughed at or like like the dry humor wasn't being like kind of noticed. I guess the second time around.
yeah.
And just real quick, it was kind of funny because we took Carmel to see it for her birthday. That's why I saw it the second time.
Hmm.
And some couple had snuck into the theater about maybe 10-15 minutes into it, and they stayed for about 20 minutes and then just left. Like it's not like it's not for everybody. Like Wes Anderson's not like I can see like, and it's fine. Like it's not it doesn't have to be everybody's cup of tea, but it's.
An acquired taste.
Yeah, and like his movies are very much going to be like that, or it's just, and like it's just like I don't know, like I can see people just thinking this movie's boring and slow and like it's just talking and not much.
Yeah.
But like, what was your experience seeing it?
Granted, it was a Monday. That was the day before the 4th of July. So I assume a lot of people are off, maybe not. But I saw on the Monday, the day before a major holiday. It was the 7:30 showing, and it was counting me, my plus one. There was another couple, so it was four people in this theater, and it was like a mid-sized theater.
Yeah,
It wasn't the smallest theater, but it wasn't the biggest theater either. But the theater alone was just dead. Just like these it's not like a draft house or flicks. They're just dying into the sunset. But the theater
yeah,
was just dead. And then yeah, there was only four people total to watch this, and they came in like right when the movie started, so they just made it, I guess.
yeah.
I don't know I mean, they stayed throughout the whole thing, so I'm assuming they liked it. But yeah, that's just like it's kind of crazy. But then that's just how movies in general, or movie theaters, bigger movie chains, are just kind of just dying.
Yeah, and then each time, like I saw it, but like I saw it 2 times. There was an older couple that sat behind us that I thought was cool as hell, and like I hope like that to be me when I'm getting older. That were like,
You are
I guess,
old.
knowledgeable, and I said older, and like that's where I heard like I heard the husband tell the wife, "Man, that lady looks a lot like her mom," and the mom, I mean the wife was like, "Who's the mom?" And he's talking to about the school teacher.
Mm.
That's Uma Thurman's daughter. I was like, and then in my head, I was like, oh shit, that's Uma Thurman's daughter. And then I looked it up afterwards. And then the second time we saw it, there was another older couple. I think that's a good thing with Wes Anderson. Like, he's got a broad appeal. Like, it just depends on like your taste in movies.
Yeah.
Probably his more accessible one would be the Grand Budapest after this, and then some of the other ones are just way more quirky to where, like, yeah, like I can see people just this is stupid. And like, yeah, it's either you're okay with it or it's just gonna be stupid.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty much how his movies are. And yeah, I'd say
Did you
probably Grand Budapest.
did you enjoy the movie?
I enjoyed it a lot, like I did, and it lingered with me. And I try to make sense of it all because there's a lot going on that we kind of didn't scratch the surface of. Like just a lot of stuff going on, and like it stuck with me. And the French Dispatch, which came out during quarantine or during I think during COVID or maybe I was just we just had our baby or something because that was the first Wes Anderson movie that I missed in a theater in a while because we've seen his last couple. We saw Moonrise Kingdom, we saw Grand Budapest, we saw Isle of Dogs, and then the French Dispatch came out, and that one was in black and white, and that one was probably his hardest to watch. That's kind of more art house and just weird. I would give it another watch, but that would probably be his least accessible movie of all of his, in my opinion. But I like this one a lot. And I know we didn't talk too much about the cowboy character, but man, like all these characters are small, but man, they had personality and quirks and they were very likable. I love the dynamic between that cowboy and the Uma Thurman, that school teacher. I should just call her school teacher. I don't know what her name is. But man, that little dynamic or like those their few scenes that they had were awesome. He comes and he looks like this cowboy guy, and then he starts talking to the classroom, and then the fucking song that the kid made up about the aliens. That shit was funny, man. Like, I forget how it goes. Like, dear aliens in heaven, approximately 6'7". Be you friend or foe, and then like the band starts singing. That was funny as hell. And then they start dancing and stuff. Like, yeah, I love that shit. But I don't know. I mean, I liked it a lot. Like, I like those old. Like, I don't know. I liked it a lot. I can go see it again right now. But I don't know. Like, shit that I like to think about is like, what the hell does it all mean? Because like, the Jason Schwartzman character, not Augie, but the theater actor performing the actor.
Yep.
Augie character was trying to figure it out. Like, what do you think? Like, I don't know. Like, did it seem it is very confusing too. Like it kind of reminded me. I know you probably haven't seen Inland Empire by David Lynch.
No.
It's kind of a little bit like that, and kind of like Schenectady, New York, where it's like a play about a play, and then Inland Empire is kind of like a movie about a movie, and then like you don't know in Inland Empire, you don't know if this is the movie or this is the acting or
Hmm.
like the two worlds blend, but it gets very kind of weird. And like, I don't think, and then even like when we see the Jeff Goldblum as an alien, he's like, I'm an alien, but I'm also a metaphor or something like that. Like, is there any, like, I don't know. Like I said, with my night job, I have just time to think while I'm working, and I just try to think about stuff. I don't know if you noticed or not, but when the alien came down from the flying saucer,
Hmm.
it kind of looked like the same little thing from the car that Matt Dillon was messing with. And when Matt Dillon was messing with the car at the beginning, there's like this, like he refers to, like that's why he first told Jason, the Augie character, the first time this happened, it was an easy fix. It was like a 75-cent part. And you see him opening the box for that 75-cent part.
Yeah.
It's this tiny little, probably not real car part. It's this little screw thing. And then he starts screwing it onto the car like a light bulb. But that also looked like the same thing that was part of the spaceship that was coming down. And then with the Jason Schwartzman's car, for some weird thing, falls out of the car where it looks like the heart, and it starts like sputtering around, dying, like, which is just weird. And like that's when Matt Dillon's like, "This is definitely a third thing. I don't know what this is." But I don't know. To me, that looked like the piece from the spaceship also looked like the same piece from the car.
Yeah, I saw that too at the end where there it was like that melee or whatnot because I saw
Yeah.
something fall. I was like, what the hell was it? It looks exactly like the car part.
Yeah, so that's kind of weird. And then like another scene that we didn't talk about, but in the black and white world where Ed Norton is talking about the play to the actors before they actually perform the play or got their roles assigned. He's talking about he wants to do this dream sequence, but he doesn't know how to do it because it's a dream sequence where all the characters are dreaming at the same time. And it's like it's funny at first because like all the actors starting like pretending to be asleep at the same time and all stupid sleepwalking. But then it
Yeah.
happens later on in the movie, and then like Jason Schwartzman's character is the one that comes up with this line. He goes, "What does he say? You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep. You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep. You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep." And all the characters keep saying that, like, "You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep." And there's just a bunch of like little weird stuff like that that happen in the movie. Where yeah, it's just funny, like on surface level, like you can enjoy it, but there's deeper stuff too. Like I'm trying to figure out like what it all means.
Yeah.
Like, and it's kind of interesting. Like I don't know, and I'm just spurting out shit that's in my head. I don't know how accurate or whatnot. But like Wes Anderson, I mean, he's the sole director, but he's not the sole writer. But he's done that. Like, so technically, like I don't know if it's about creation or something of partly about it because he technically was like the Ed Norton character, the writer of the play, the writer of the movie, and then when Jason Schwartzman makes out with Ed Norton, it's like I don't know, maybe Wes Anderson falling in love with his characters that he creates, but then they're not technically real, you know? Like there's some meta shit going on, and then Wes Anderson's also a director, so he's also like the Adrian Brody character
Mm.
who's directed all this stuff. And what I thought was interesting, a neat little interesting thing too, was I thought was super badass was the Margot Robbie scene. Like she's only in it for one scene, and she like Schwartzman just asks her like, "Oh yeah, you were supposed to play my dead wife." But and she's like, "Yeah, I got cut from that." And she asks him, "Do you remember what the scene was?" And he didn't remember, but she tells him what it was.
Yeah, line for line.
Yeah, and then it's kind of funny because it's like it's kind of like I guess ironic or dumb because he's saying it got cut from the movie, yet it's in the movie right now as it's happening. It got cut from the movie, but we're watching it play out in the movie, even though it got cut from the play in the movie. But did it really? Since we're hearing the lines, but it was weird because it was. She tells him that it was. I guess at some point in the play, which we didn't see in the movie, they get taken up to the alien planet? And well, I guess not. I guess it doesn't matter because it was cut from the movie and cut from the play, and we don't see that. But she says it was supposed to happen. It was the scene that got cut where she's dead and Schwartzman's in the alien planet and he has a dream and he sees her in the dream and she's dead obviously, and he asked her to ask the aliens. He figures that she would have asked the aliens because that's her character. Like I guess the wife was real, I don't know, talky or busybody, or Schwartzman was like, "Did you ask the aliens what it's all about, what the meaning of everything is?" And she's like, "No." And then she tells him she's talking about the kid and maybe it's time for him to move on, and he says he doesn't know how to, and she's like, "I think maybe you should find out or maybe you should try." And then it's kind of an interesting concept. Then he takes a picture of Margot Robbie in the dream that we obviously don't see because she's just telling him with her words what the scene was that got cut out. And in that scene, and it's a dream, but he takes a picture of her in the dream and she's like, "I hope it comes out." And he's like, "My pictures always come out." And I think it's like, I don't know, I think that's what he's trying to, like I said, Jason Schwartzman is trying to figure it all out, like what it all means.
Yeah. Because there was, I think, like when just like random thought, when the Augie character, he's showing Scarlett Johansson the picture. She thought it was gonna be a picture he took of her in the bath, but it was a picture of the alien that he took. And so, "Oh, what about the one of me or something?" And he shows her that one too, but then he kind of has both the pictures kind of air drying side by side, and I don't know if it was like purposely done, that scene where they would just kind of look like the alien way it was posing and the way that Scarlett Johansson was not necessarily posing when he took the picture of her. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that too. Like, if in a way Scarlett Johansson was the alien, or kind of like the alien, but things like we're not doing justice, and it's hard to do justice. Like, it's like their dynamic between the Scarlett Johansson and the Schwartzman character. It was awesome because, like, yeah, you do see that in their brief little moments because there's so many people in the movie, but you believe their characters. Like, it reminds me, like, I don't know if you've heard Typo Negative's cover of Paranoid. Like, man, like that song's like, it's just fucking awesome. Like, their cover of Paranoid, because at the end, like, he's like I'm not made of steel, I need love, love, in the Typo Negative fucking voice, Peter
Yeah,
Steele. But it's like both these characters need love, but they're both like too into themselves, or too like just kind of lost. And like that the Scarlett Johansson's daughter asked him, "Oh, did you ever get shot at the war?" And then, like, he turns around, he has this big bald spot on his head from where shrapnel hit him.
yeah,
It's kind of like where they don't feel anything, and like I guess that kind of allusion to why he burned his hand in the movie. But then it's like this weird thing that's happening, like where the theater actor playing Augie is also becoming that character Augie, and he's trying to find purpose, or he's trying to become like a person, or not, like, because like he says, like, they're just like Scarlett Johansson, they're just damaged people that are just, they don't deal with their pain, they just do their best to not think about it or talk about it. And like he doesn't make the move, and that's like kind of a neat way it ended. Like, he doesn't make, they don't, it doesn't show them all as like the sappy ending where they get together because they kind of need each other, they're both like the solution to each other, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And like he doesn't even get, like, it's just like you said, it's a PO box address that he gets from her, but it's like it's a positive thing though. It's like, okay, because this is my spiel. I think the one of the main things of this movie, the main theme, it's about letting go and being able to feel okay to start again. And I think that's what the whole point of the alien taking the asteroid and bringing it back. I think it's about letting go. Like the alien, like, it symbolizes, okay, like you know, it's okay for stuff to happen, like that meteor landed whatever thousands of years ago, it's okay for stuff to happen, the impact, and he picked it up, and then that's what the inventory, like, it's a memory, it's a thing now that happened in your life, it's inventoried, and it's okay to move on, it's okay to, because that's what the Margot Robbie was telling him in that scene. She was telling him that you're going to have to move on for the kids. I think you're going to have to, like, go ahead and move on. And it's kind of like the asteroid, like, okay, the alien took it and dealt with it and then let it go, and it's going to start again. It's like, it's okay. It's about letting go,
yeah,
starting over, and like, it's okay. And it's like the Schwartzman character wasn't fixed, but like he was glad. Like, at first he couldn't let his emotions or sadness kick in when he realized that Scarlett Johansson had left without even saying goodbye or anything. He just ate it, like he just eats everything. Like, in his life, he doesn't show any emotions. And there was even a scene where Tom Hanks, like, says, "You were going to abandon your kids, right? You were just going to take off and leave." Well, no, the son asked him that. Were you going to leave us, Dad? And like, he just honestly tells him, "I was going to do that. I was going to abandon you guys, but I would have returned."
yeah. It was a temporary leave or something like that.
Yeah. So it's like he's just lost. And like, I think the thing with the note, it's kind of, in my interpretation of it, it's like, it's not like it's like a happy, he's instantly fixed, he's with Scarlett Johansson, oh, they're gonna drive off, he's Goodwill Hunting, he's driving the car to go find Minnie Driver. Like, it's just like, okay, like he didn't give up that thing. Like, he's like, he was kind of happy to receive it, and then it coincides with the son being next to him saying that he won the scholarship, and that the son, they asked, "Oh yeah, that's a good amount of money, what are you going to spend it on?" Probably my girlfriend, which is Scarlett Johansson's daughter. And it's like, okay, so that's like another relationship that's starting. And then Tom Hanks was a widower. The father-in-law is a widower. But there was a part in the scene in the movie too where I didn't notice it the first time, but he asked that Hope Davis. He's kind of somewhat flirting with her. He goes, "Oh, are you married?" And she goes, "Yes, I am." And it's like, "Oh, of course you would be." Did you remember that part?
Hope Davis. Hope Davis. Which one's that one?
She was the mother of the Girl Scout girl that was Scarlett Johansson was her idol.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
But like Tom Hanks kind of flirts with her, not like hardcore or nothing, but he just kind of like asks
Yeah.
her if she's married.
Yeah.
And it's like they're all at different stages, but it's like all of them are one like the son is just starting something new, and like with the Schwartzman and the Tom Hanks, it's like it's okay to keep going or it's okay to let go and start again.
Hmm.
Because like you said, the Tom Hanks tells Schwartzman or Augie that I'd be okay with you if you and Scarlett Johansson got together. I'm okay with that. Like I have no objections about that.
Yeah.
So I think that to me that's what the movie is about. Like it's just letting go and being able to feel like it's okay to start again.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of other weird stuff going on too. And then something we didn't mention, it turns out that the Ed Norton character dies in a car crash, right?
I believe so, yes.
So the writer of the play ends up dying in the reality, like I guess the real reality of the movie, but not the play.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's what I take from it. Like I don't know. But then, like I said, like it's just kind of interesting. Like I don't know. Like I said, I think that Jason Schwartzman was trying to like he became that character, and the character kind of became him, and it was like blurred between. If it does at parts, you don't know if the actors are just performing the play as it's written, or if they're just talking like the actors during like the downtime of the play, or they're just talking to each other. It's like it's a weird mix of like you don't know what's really 100% going on.
Yeah.
But either way, I don't know. I like the movie a lot.
Yeah. I liked it. I probably wouldn't mind watching it again. Just to not necessarily if there's anything I missed or whatnot, but I'd watch it again. Like I said, I wouldn't mind checking out some of his other films as well, but not say not back to back, but I'll definitely give them a try.
Yeah, I hope you do. It's like Grand Budapest or The Life Aquatic is probably one of my favorite comedies.
But
And it's kind of like a Fourth of July movie because it has the government in it and aliens, like Independence Day.
yeah, I was thinking that too. It's like it's a nice alternative for the other Independence Day movie.
That's funny because about a year ago today, around today, we saw Nope, right?
I think,
Roughly about a year.
yeah.
Another alien movie.
Got a nice little theme going on.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Is this a good stopping point?
Well, I just say I can't wake up if I don't go to sleep. Can't wake up if I don't go to sleep. Yeah, I think it's a good stopping point because I can't wake up if I don't go to sleep.
Yeah, go to sleep to wake up.
Uh,
All right. Well, that's gonna wrap up this movie corner discussion of the movie Asteroid City. If it's in the theater near you, definitely try and give it a check out or check it out. But yeah, it might not be for everyone. So watch the trailer. Hopefully our conversation gave you some insight of the film. But I was joined here with Augie the Froggy.
hey,
I am obviously 2003. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good night. Don't forget to settle down.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this odds and ends gaming video. If you did, please consider leaving a like, commenting, sharing with your friends, and subscribing if you haven't already. And as always, don't forget to settle down.